with PerforMotion's newest edition. Tarrin Wilson, how are you doing today?
I'm good, mate. How are you?
I'm all right. Thanks for asking. So, a really big warm welcome to you from all of us at Perf, and I hope you're having fun over here right now.
Thank you. Yeah, no, it's been good. Everyone's been really welcoming. It's been really nice.
That's great, especially those calls on like Thursdays
Oh, mate.
and Monday. Yeah,
Thursday calls are great.
yeah. All right. So, tell us a bit about yourself. Who is Tarrin Wilson?
So, I am a under 105 powerlifter, powerlifting coach. I live in the north of England, north of the UK, not too far from Scotland, but still this side of the wall. So I started off in the west in Cumbria and then moved over to Newcastle. So Newcastle was a city in the northeast of England. Moved here for uni 5 years ago now. So I've just finished university, which is a bit of a slog, studying civil engineering, which has been great. Like, I really enjoyed my time at uni, learnt a lot of skills that were very transferable, but coming out the back end of it, I had a placement year in between, like my fourth year before my final year. And although the work was good, it just wasn't very fulfilling. I found like powerlifting coaching while I was at uni. We have a club there. Started in first year as part of the club, and then slowly throughout the years got more and more involved in like being in the committee. Started coaching,
setting up events.
Sessions. Exactly, and I just kept going from there. So initially, it started off with like just a bit of coaching in the sessions and just helping out there. Was really enjoying that, so I leapt into personalized coaching, like one-to-one online coaching.
Yeah.
Started doing that for free for quite a while.
Were your one-to-one sessions online or in person?
One-to-one was online, yeah.
At the time.
So all the in-person stuff I did was in the club sessions that we had.
Groups? Right, got it. Yeah, so that was how you made your mark into what uni were you in?
Newcastle University.
Oh, Newcastle University. So
yeah,
you made coaching and powerlifting through there. So was that where you started powerlifting as an athlete as well, or did you have, I guess, a history of your powerlifting before going to uni?
So I actually started. So we do in the UK, we do A levels before we come to uni. So that's like sort of 17, 18 for like 2 years. It was so I'm actually be 16 to 18. So I started going to the gym when I was 16, as that was the youngest you could be to get a membership at my local gym. Like, you couldn't get a membership if you were younger than 16.
Right.
So 16 is when I started going to the gym. Right. I'd wanted to for quite a long time. I was still playing rugby at the time as well. So I played a lot of rugby all the way through school. Said I wanted to get into the gym. Told my mum, I was like, I'm gonna start going to the gym like 6 days a week. Just like from day one was like 6 days a week. And she was like, you won't keep that up. And I mean, we're here like 8 years later. It hasn't. Is it 8? 7 years. 7 years later, and it hasn't changed. So yeah, probably
still 6 times.
Yeah, and I actually found powerlifting before I came to uni through a friend of mine. But it wasn't until I came to uni I realised there was more than 2 of us doing it. I actually found there was like a community of people. Yeah. We were the weirdos in a commercial gym.
Right. So it was just you and your friend, and you guys were just powerlifting in commercial gyms.
Yeah.
Right. ever thought about competing back then when it was just a commercial gym?
So I don't really know how to. Like, it wasn't something that was super accessible to me. Like, I knew there were competitions, but I didn't really know how to get into it. I think even if I hadn't gone to uni, I probably would have found my way eventually, because the mate that introduced me to powerlifting, he had competed, so I maybe would have found my way through him. He competed once.
Right.
Okay,
got it.
That was just before I came to uni, so I never really went there. As I say, when I did come to uni, that's when I started competing with the club.
Got it. Was it through the InterVarsity games?
Similar.
Yeah.
So we have.
I know, like UK has. Yeah. The uni champs.
Yes. So
I think one of my friends competed at Cambridge. Yeah.
Yeah, it's a step down from that. So we have Northern Universities, which is a competition just for like universities in the north of England, north of the UK, that all come together. It's just university students. And in 2020, so first year of uni, is when I entered that for the first time. So it was a uni comp that I did first. Yeah.
Right. So the UK is so big that you guys have your own regionals within your country.
Yes.
Is that what I'm hearing?
So we have
like
regional divisions, and each division holds its own competitions.
Wow.
So they're roughly split into like counties. It's not exactly matched up, but roughly. So, for example, I'm part of the YNE, which is Yorkshire and North East. So it covers several counties, but it's all in the same sort of area.
So it's sort of similar to the concept of having states in Australia, like state championships.
Yes. Yeah, kind of. Except from what I understand, in Australia, they have to like win or do well to move into the next stage. Is that right?
Yeah, you got to have a qualifying total to.
Oh, okay.
No,
that's the same as those.
State level and national level.
Yeah. So you've got to qualify. So anyone can enter a regional competition for us. That's like our lowest level, and then that will qualify all our national comps. That will qualify you for any national competition if you qualify.
All right. So speaking of competitions, tell us about your first. How did it go?
So first competition was Northern Unis in 2020. And I was a really, really light 105. I was like 98 kilos roughly. Yeah. Totaled 532. So nothing groundbreaking, but yeah, like 195 squat, 125 bench.
It's a good base to start off with.
It wasn't a bad place to start off. It was, I was happy with it. 8 for 9 day, and then proud to say I've never gone less than 8 for 9 since. So go keep the streak alive now.
I have never gotten an 8 for 9.
8 for 9 and 9 for 9 at every comp.
Oh, God.
Always. Consistent.
Yeah, that's impressive, man.
Thanks, man.
I consistently went 7 for 9 last year. That's how consistent I am.
Would you normally miss on?
All right.
There's a pattern.
What
do you normally miss on, or is there?
Yeah, I fail one bench and one deadlift every comp, and it has not changed.
The same thing.
Yeah.
I think for my first
I would like to change it.
For my first 3 comps, I went 8 for 9 and then missed one of each at a different comp.
Right.
Yeah, it's a change.
So first time for everything.
Yeah, pretty much.
And so how many competitions have you gone to since Northern Unis?
Ooh, probably about 5. It was stunted a little bit with COVID because that first competition was right before COVID.
Yeah.
And with COVID, so I didn't compete
Right.
again until like it was nearly 2 years later.
Or like
it was like beginning of
2 years, right?
To the end of 2021. So
to
just
end of
2022.
2021. Yeah. So fast forward to your most recent comp. How did you do?
Well, actually, yeah, that went all right. So I was in we had British universities, so that's the National Scale University Championships in the UK. And that was the biggest it had ever been. I think there was something like 500 lifters nearly across 2 days.
Wow.
So 2 platforms.
I don't even think my country has 500 lifters.
3 days. 3 days, sorry.
Wow.
It was 3 or 4 days. It wasn't even that long ago, I should remember.
Right.
I think it was 3 days. Friday, Saturday, Sunday. So biggest it's ever been. Like, obviously 105s and super populated. We had like 2 full classes. Or like 2 full flights, sorry.
Wow.
105s.
So it's like 30 people.
Yeah. And it's got so competitive. Like it's some of like you've got some heavy total, like high totals now. Even at uni level is really impressive. So I was quite happy to be starting in top flight. So I started in top flight and finished with best performance to date from me, which is 7:15. So it was like 260, 165, and 290. So come a long way from where we started in Northern Unis.
Yeah, it's about 180 kilos on your first total.
Yeah, thereabouts. Yeah.
Oh, yeah. Well done.
Thank you.
And from these past 5 years, how would you attribute your growth as an athlete and a coach? If you could tell the audience one thing that attributed to your growth, what would it be?
As an athlete, it's just keep it simple, like keeping it really simple and really, really consistent, like as consistent as possible. Just doing the little things that don't seem that important, just over and over and over and over again, and realizing that it took me quite a long time to come to terms with the fact that you see all these people on like Instagram's just like such a highlight reel for all the strongest, best people and the people who are going to make the best progress in the shortest amount of time, and realizing that 90% of people, 99% of people are not one of those people. Most people are not those people. And that's the reality of it.
Is this a wake-up call?
Strength takes a really, really long time to build. Like a really long time. And there's nothing wrong with that as long as you sort of accept it.
Yeah.
And then just put the work in. It takes time. Like, there's no rushing it. So being able to just be patient and learn when to push and learn when to take care of yourself a little bit more has been really good. Something that helped me with that a lot, weirdly, is like a knee injury. Like, so I've got like a mild, it's mild now, but like a chronic sort of knee tendinopathy sort of thing going on that happened like 3 years ago. I initially had to take quite a big step back with training. Like I was back down to very light weights just to reintroduce from the bottom up again.
Yeah.
That took a really, really long time. That was during COVID as well. So, but it was probably one of my favorite bits of training because I found myself comparing myself still to everyone on Instagram. We were really fortunate that we were staying at my partner's dad's house, and we had a combo rack and some plates that we bought and put in his garage. So we were cool. We were chilling, we were training, but I was injured. I didn't need to be anywhere, and I didn't need to speak to anyone. So I just deleted Instagram off my phone entirely, so I couldn't see anyone's stuff, and just focused on myself. And it was like getting from 70 kilo to 80 kilo again. This is while I was like a 210 squatter at the time. And I think it took me nearly a year and a half to 2 years to get back to that again, for a combination of just like knee issues and then a cut that I probably shouldn't have done at one point. It took forever to get back, but it made it a lot easier and a lot more enjoyable when I wasn't constantly comparing myself or watching other people. It was really, really useful.
Yeah. And
But
I guess it helps when you, like, I guess you can tell yourself, like, if you can't go through that knee injury, you can go through pretty much anything.
Yeah. But
yeah,
it's also taught me quite a lot about how to approach certain injuries, and that sometimes injuries won't ever totally clear up, and that's okay. So like I still get quite a lot of like residual stiffness now, like, especially if we do like a lot of volume or a lot of heavy squatting. I can feel it, like it gets a little bit touch and go. But over the course of the last 3 years, I've become really in tune with it. So like my friends that I train with will joke all the time that all I do is complain about it, because that's just the person I am. I like to vocalize things even when it's not actually that big a deal. I just complain about it because I'm just noisy about it. But
you're the neighborhood yapper.
Yeah. Well, but what? Yeah, it's taught me that sometimes it's just learning to manage those sorts of stresses, and that they're completely trainable still. Just, yeah, you just got to be careful with them.
Yeah. So just to double back, you mentioned that you have to sort of take these seemingly unimportant things and make them really consistent.
Yeah.
So would you like to share those with us? Like, yeah, share it with the audience.
The biggest one's just just food. Like food is always been the driving factor behind all my training. Like my total has increased, but at virtually every competition I've done, I've also been heavier each time. Like heavier, but also like it's a good ratio. Like good lift's still going up as well. Like it's not just a stagnant 1-to-1. But people, especially a lot of beginners who enjoy powerlifting and get into powerlifting, I feel it's not everyone, but a lot can undervalue just being more jacked and just getting more jacked. It's massively undervalued. Like going really hard on accessories from day one for 5 years straight is great. I mean, that's what I used to really enjoy when I started training. We used to do we would hit legs 2 or 3 times a week, and we would do these enormous drop sets on leg press, for example, where you'd stand and do as many as possible, and then have a friend take both the plates off, and as many again, take them off again, as many again, and just AMRAPs and just pushing to that point where it's painful, but just enjoying that. And not everyone's going to enjoy that, and I get it. But the people who do enjoy it, they're the ones who are going to be jacked or learn to enjoy it.
Yeah.
It's an outlet at the end of the day.
Yeah.
So things like that. Sleep's good. I know sleep can be quite a difficult one for a lot of people, like trying to make that as consistent as possible. I've never been amazing at making sleep consistent, but trying to get enough. So maybe I haven't had like a consistent sleep routine. Like maybe the time I go to bed has fluctuated quite a lot, but I've always been quite strict on how much sleep I get. So if I can afford it, and being at uni helps with this a lot, obviously. If I went to bed later, I would set my alarm later and wake up later, but try and give myself the same amount.
Yeah.
Things like that. Unfortunately, another one is just managing stress, like day-to-day stress. I'm very lucky that as a person, I just don't really get that stressed out about things too often. Not in like sort of like a chronic, overwhelming way. And if someone does get overwhelmingly stressed, it's something that should probably be addressed, especially if your priority or your goal is in strength training, and that is one of your key priorities. How can you manage stress in the rest of your life? Because that will have a massive impact as well.
Yeah. So thanks for sharing with us. So just to summarize, it's food, sleep, and stress.
Yeah, they're my big three. Yeah.
Yeah, and training hard. Yeah.
And training hard. Yeah. Not skipping accessories.
Yeah. I'm looking at you guys. So, moving on. As a coach, how has your coaching experience been at Meet, and how has it developed throughout the years of coaching?
So, initially, I started handling at meets. I started handling my partner. So, my partner Kate is national champion, has been national champion, like junior national champion for several years, represented GB several times. But we both met through powerlifting and started competing at the same sort of time. So I would help handle her. That was something I found quite difficult initially. I think it was just because it was her though. Because I wanted to see her do so well, I would be more stressed out handling her than I would be competing myself. I think it was just that sort of lack of control, because you can do everything great as a handler and be really, really invested in your athlete, but at the end of the day, they either lift it or they don't, and you have no control over that.
The outcome is technically out of your control.
Yeah, exactly. So
it's up to the athlete, up to your partner,
massively. And I don't know about you, but like the more I've done it, the more I found myself being able to let go a little bit more and realize that, look, we've prepped correctly. The attempt selection is sensible. We've got them in the right headspace. There's nothing more I can really do. That's my job done, if that makes sense. So obviously, I want them to do well.
Have a little faith. Yeah.
But it's just part of it, and that's experience. That's just practice and just doing it over and over again. So started with my partner, then with my online clients, a lot of regional competitions, and then handling wise, biggest handling event for me was junior nationals this year, where I had about 7 or 8 athletes spread throughout the week. I was there for the whole week, so that was Tuesday through to Sunday, something like that, or Wednesday through to Sunday. Either way, there the whole week. I was there from day one to the very, very end. Had at least one person each day. other than Friday. Got to be a part of a really exciting battle in the 83s, which were, there was quite a lot of like high
83s, was it Pondy?
Yes, yeah, it was.
Yeah, Matthew Pond,
Yeah, it did
Joey
amazing.
Shaw, and yeah.
All three of them did. It was a great day, amazing day.
Yeah.
But that was a lot of fun, and that was
yeah.
You know, it was probably the highest like stake and intensity handling session I've been a part of. But I really enjoyed it. So I'd love to chase to be part of more sessions like that, because that it was really exciting. But that was a great week throughout. Like, I had clients who had been with me for best part of 2 years who started. So one of my clients, Amelia, when we started, 57 pulling like 110, and she pulled 170 at comp. So getting to share things like those huge milestones with those people who've been working with for such a long time is a great feeling as well. So it was a great week from start to finish.
Yeah.
And we had I had 3 podium spots. So out of the 7 that went, 3 of them podiumed, and one of them won, and has, off the back of that, just been invited to represent GB World. So that's exciting.
So we'll see him at Malta.
Yes, we will.
Yeah. We have to get him on here again for another episode. I'll reach out to him after this. Yeah. So, yeah, you have an amazing roster, evidently. Multiple podium spots, coaching to international platforms. What are your plans for the future as an athlete and a coach?
Definitely as a coach. As an athlete, I just want to keep chipping away. I remember when I started powerlifting, in my head, I was like, lifetime goals for me were 800 at 105. And I was like, cool, that's a lifetime goal. That's probably miles. That's probably like 10, 15 years away. And I was happy with that. I was like, cool, this is something that I can work towards and one day might hit. And then obviously hit 600. This last meet I've just done, over 700. It's the first time where I've been like, cool, it's a lot. It's a chunk away. Like, it's a good chunk.
A lot closer.
But it feels like real, if that makes sense. Like, it was just like some arbitrary goal way off in the distance. But now I'm like, no, I could do that.
Yeah.
How I hit like the numbers.
You're just a couple of steps away.
I'm not too bothered about. Individual lift wise, I'd like to squat and deadlift 300, and I want to bench 200 at some point. Which
that's a pretty even number.
Yeah, there's just, I don't know. There's just something about those numbers that just nice round numbers. I'm not far off the deadlift now. 10 more kilos. Which is wild to think about.
40 more on squat, I believe.
Yeah, 40 more on squat.
Yeah. And how much on bench?
30. So a bit.
30.
Yeah.
Got a couple of got a bit of work to do.
Yeah, definitely. But just, it's the same as it's always been. Just keep chipping away and just keep being consistent, and it'll happen by itself in its own time. I have no.
Yeah, it's just a matter of time.
Yeah, these are all goals that have no time frame at all. Like.
Yeah.
Every competition I go to, I always say when I get there, like, if I can add 2.5 kilos to my total, I'm happy. Like, as long as it's going up, it doesn't matter how much it goes up by, as long as it's going in that direction. That's the main thing.
do you feel like your attribute of, I can't find the right word for it, but I guess your attribute of finding small wins everywhere, at every opportunity you get, is that part of a key to longevity in this sport?
Yeah, yeah, definitely. Being able to, I mean, it sounds so cliche, but trying to enjoy just the process and the journey and like not get so fixated on certain numbers, especially for the majority of lifters who aren't competing for international spots. Like if you're not competing for an international sport or at a national level, you are competing against yourself in most situations, especially at things like regionals, which is where like the majority of people are competing. Like, focus on you. I've seen it countless times. Like,
Yeah.
people getting too wrapped up in numbers and stuff that they will overshoot and miss something, and they'd be so much better off just being slightly more conservative and just building a total. And then that total leads into the next competition. You build another total, and you just keep doing that over and over again. And also, you just become more confident at competing. Like, I think I'm quite comfortable competing, because we've always made, thanks to like Coach Owen as well, we've always made sensible decisions, like numbers wise. So it's very rare I miss something. So I feel good about that. And I've got that evidence, if you like. Like, every time I go into a comp, I've got a bank of evidence that, cool, I can compete and I can be consistent and hit numbers and put a total together.
Yeah, it just boosts your self-efficacy up.
Yeah. So it's like, we look at like block momentum.
Like, you have successful experiences, you just
It's
just
like,
link it to
it's like a zoomed out momentum, if you like a comp to comp momentum,
yeah.
if you like. Yeah.
Yeah.
Similar sort of concept.
Thanks for sharing this with us, man.
That's okay. That's great.
So, back to Perth.
Yes.
Yeah. Back to Perth. What services do you offer at PerforMotion?
So at the moment, I offer performance coaching, which is obviously what majority of our coaches do. So it's technique analysis, programming, game day handling. Obviously, there's a locational barrier to my game day handling. I can't just hop on a plane somewhere like Australia, because I am
fly off to America to handle it.
Yeah. But for the UK is not that big, so anywhere in the UK, I can get anywhere in the UK in most situations. So that's not a problem.
Yeah.
I'm always happy to handle people. We put all the work in and all the time in with the athletes. Why wouldn't you want to be there on the day where they put it all together and it counts?
Yeah, on their biggest day, right? It's sort of like being there for your kid's piano recital.
Yeah.
I know we don't have kids, but like it's probably the same feeling, right? You want to see them perform well.
Yeah, cool. Yeah. It probably is the same feeling.
Yeah.
Of course you do.
And even if they screw up, you want to be there for them. Yeah.
Yes. Yeah, absolutely. So.
Yeah. That's what matters, man.
Absolutely.
All right. So before we end things off, I just have one more final question. What do you hope to achieve from joining PerforMotion?
So I'm really looking forward to working as part of the business and, more importantly, a team that are looking to push the standards of coaching in the UK as well. as we expand into UK and Europe. And I want to keep building the roster. You know, I'm not at uni anymore. Got lots of spaces opening up. So I want to expand the roster further and just build more relationships with people and make them strong. Just make them strong and help them
yeah, that's our job, right?
enjoy competing and help them do it in a way that it makes like their life better, makes them feel better about themselves.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I think that's the end goal, right? In life, you want to, yeah, you come to the right place, man.
I think you froze a second. What did you say?
You came to the right place.
Yes, yeah, definitely.
You came to the right place. Yeah. Yeah, so yeah, that concludes our episode. And thank you so much for joining me.
Thank you for having me
and
on.
Perf.
Yes, thank you.
No worries, man.
Amazing.
Yeah. So coaches chat with Tarrin Wilson. Be nice to him.